nursery to decorate. You'll be inspired by this room makeover by designer Antonio Bellusci.
When my doctor told me my baby was going to come earlier than expected, the first thing I thought of was the wallpaper is not up in the nursery. I literally came home that night and stayed up until 2 o'clock in the morning to finish the wallpapering. And I absolutely love this yellow and white bright chevron pattern. It really injects the room with a lot of color and personality, as every kid's room should have. Now the rug is the same thing. These are actually carpet tiles, and they're great in a kid's room because you can move them about if you have any accidents. And I really love playing and mixing with the colors. Now the crib is really the only traditional piece. It's black and it has this turned spindle design. It really adds a bit more character to the room. The art above the crib is a mix of DIY projects and budget-friendly art. And it's great because you can change them over time as my son gets older. Now the dresser is actually a nightstand, and this piece is slightly smaller in scale, but it works really well in a kid's room. The curtains are white, but they have blackout linings, which really help with afternoon naps, and especially trying to make them a little bit longer. Now, in every kid's room, you always want to have a little bit of area to store toys. And this spot is great because my son can take out his toys, but he can put them back when it's cleanup time. Now, the tree in the corner is fake, and that's okay, especially in a kid's room, because if it falls over, it doesn't hurt anyone, and it really doesn't need any care. And the clock on the wall is a DIY project. I got all the materials at the dollar store and I assembled them together and painted them in these bright colors, and it really bounces off the wall.
Okay, that is the cutest room, Antonio. And now, I mean, the family has expanded. You have 2 children.
Yes.
Can we see these children, please? We have an incredible shot. Elio and Sabrina.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Like the models she's smizing.
I know.
Oh my gosh! You are a fabulous dad with these beautiful kids. And so let's talk a little bit about not just decorating the room, but the toys.
Yes.
Like we're moving into the toys, the toy area, because I think a lot of parents these days are maybe concerned about having these disposable toys, and there's plastic and. Why not go back to the days of making toys out of wood? We both know that they put it right in their mouth.
Exactly.
So it's nice to know what it's made of.
Exactly.
You've made some DIY toys that are incredible.
I know, and actually I used to make a pinball machine with my older brother when I was a kid.
Cute.
So I kind of replicated one here, and it's just made out of plywood and some nails and some elastic bands and some clothing pin lines. So you just basically take the marble and let it roll. And now my hands were a lot smaller before, but it works.
Yeah, it works. This is, I mean, my son's made one of these, and this is hours of playtime.
Exactly, and it's easy to make.
And it's easy to make.
So now, 40 years later, I took it up a notch, and I've made new ones for my children.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to take you through the steps, but these are some of the finished ones that I've made. And these are really simple materials that I got at like the dollar store, stuff I found at home, and just scraps that I've had. So you can see them here. They're just made out of wood and elastic bands and some odds and sods. So I'm going to take you through the steps here.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to get these art boards, and you're going to need 2 of them for each of the games.
Okay.
And these are pretty inexpensive, and you usually just paint the top, right?
Yeah.
But we're actually going to flip it over, and we're going to use the back side like a tray.
Makes sense.
So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut out, I'm going to show you on this one, which I like to call the top board. This one here, you're going to cut out notches on the sides, okay? And this is so that the handles can sit in.
Right.
And I'm going to drill my holes so that the handles will be held by the little bolt.
Okay.
And then I notched out a part at the bottom for a little trough and some holes for the marbles to fall through.
Nice.
Okay, so you're going to set that aside, and now you're going to do the bottom piece. Now the bottom piece, you're going to do something very similar. Now you're just going to drill through the sides, and you're going to notch at the bottom so that the marble falls out. Now these are inexpensive, sort of soft woods. You got to be careful when you're doing them. Use some sandpaper, and cut carefully so they don't crack. Okay.
Okay.
And so then what you're going to do to assemble the 2 pieces. Now, sorry, before you finish this piece, what you're going to do is you're going to take some scrap pieces of wood, and you're actually going to put some angled pieces inside. You won't see this. So that way the marble will come out and it's forced out the hole.
Yep.
Okay? So that's going to be the bottom piece.
Makes sense.
Now the fun part is a hanger. You're going to get a wooden hanger. I really wanted to make nice big handles.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took a wooden hanger and I've cut the ends off.
What a great idea.
And then I actually cut it a little bit shorter so that they actually fit the actual game.
Yeah.
And I drilled a little hole. So you're going to use 2 of them for each of the game, okay?
Okay, so that's like he's basically making this part.
Now, the next bit is the secret ingredient, I like to call it. It's called the Chicago bolt.
Okay.
And basically what it is, it's like a male and female part.
Yeah.
And it creates an axle, so the handle can move smoothly without being interrupted. It's not going to unthread itself, okay?
Right.
So you're going to use that to thread into the handle and through the 2 games sandwiched together.
That's
exactly
being used right here. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
So then once you have the 2 pieces sort of sandwiched together, then you can have fun with it. Okay, so this is where I go into my scraps, and I actually used an old broomstick instead of buying a dowel.
Yeah.
And I cut it down to make little bumpers.
Okay, good.
And you can see actually from this one over here,
These ones.
I used the threaded part for the center because it kind of creates a focal point.
Yep.
And I also used a couple of wooden knobs, and I just sort of painted them with a bit of white paint, again to create a bit of a bumper for the marbles to bounce off.
Yeah, you just want a place for them to travel through, right? And move around.
And then this one here, you can see I actually have like these little dowels, and I put some colorful elastics. This inspired me. I mean, who knew elastics came in these colors?
Yeah.
And what I did is I used the bottom piece of the hanger, because it is a little dowel, and I used this and repurposed it to make the dowels for these bumpers.
So good. And when Sabrina's a little older, you'll know all about colored hair
Exactly.
elastics.
And you know, it's a good thing you mentioned it. My daughter is not even 2. It's probably not age appropriate to be playing with marbles. But you know, when your kids are a little bit older, and why don't you give this one a shot, and I will give this one a shot. I know it's going to come rolling out, and you don't usually play upside down, but you just sort of spin it. Let's see who can get it in.
Yeah. Oh, I got it in! I promise you I got it.
Yeah.
I can never do that again. As always, you're going to find instructions on our website for your amazing project. That is cityline.tv. And, you know, we have a bit of a Throwback Thursday happening today as well. I love that you all watch the projects that we do on the show, well, that they do on the show, and emulate them. So check this out. A few years ago, you did a window treatment project, and that was using bamboo placemats. Here it is in your client's kitchen. Our Cityline viewer, Sherry, just sent us this picture. So she sewed the mats together for her basement bathroom. It cost her under $10. It took only about an hour. Well done, Sherry. Go to our website to see Antonio's original project.
Thank you.
Once again, cityline.tv.